everybody. We're back with another episode of Deep to Right here on Russo's Playbook. We've got a bonus episode for you this week as I'm joined by my friend Josh at Out of State O's. How we doing, Josh?
Doing pretty good. Excited to talk about my 28 win team, and we'll get into the details a little bit. But excited for this one.
Yes, sir. And you can catch him on Twitter at Out of State O's. And like Josh just said, they're 28 and 58 right now, 25 games back out of first place, 4-6 in the last 10, which is, if you ask me, no offense, Josh, is pretty damn good for the O's.
It is. We're excited.
They're 29th in run differential at minus 120. Confusing to me, they're minus 71 at home, minus 49 away. That makes no sense other than lack of attendance, which we'll get into. But Josh, let's kick it right off, man. What the hell is going on in Baltimore?
All right. So fifth place team, 28-58, like John said. And just a lack of attention to the major league roster is this is the result of that. And we've had a few good runs here and there, and I had predicted this team would be like a 70-win team back in April, and they've disappointed every single week pretty much. We had a 14-game losing streak for a time. We lost 23 road games in a row. If it wasn't for the Diamondbacks, we would be the laughing stock of baseball, even more so than we have been in past years. And outside of what's up?
I was going to say, you guys escaped that pretty narrowly because the Diamondbacks lost, what was that, 27 straight road games? So
they set the record.
Nobody was even paying attention to you guys because the Diamondbacks suck just a little bit more.
And even during the 14-game losing streak, they were on a similar length losing streak. I think they lost 15 in the same week, and we won ours right when they won theirs. So yep. we dodged all that.
Just slid right under them.
And like you said, we've been really bad at home. That was more of a result of that losing streak. I think most of it happened during a homestand. But outside of the John Means no-hitter and sweeping Houston last week, very excited about that. But that's our two bright spots this year.
And I'm sure that is the number one low spot for Astros and the Astros fans.
Has to be. I mean, the Yankees got swept by the Tigers, and I think this was probably even more of a problem for the Astros.
Yeah, this is my one break from shitting on the Yankees. So don't worry, Yankees fans. We'll give you a break this week.
But we absolutely love to see it. Orioles
yeah, I'm sure you guys do. We're heated over here, guys. But like I said, I'm a Yankees and Cardinals fans, as everybody knows. At least the O's are used to losing. I am beside myself that the Yankees and Cardinals might make the Orioles look competitive.
You guys might have to take a look at like the mock drafts next year. No one's ever done that.
We might have to start paying attention. Are we going to get another outlier, son? Who knows? The O's have only made the playoffs 3 times in the past 24 years. They lost the wild card in 2016. They were swept in the the ALCS in 2014 and lost the ALDS in 2012. So they're a little bit familiar with the playoffs. They keep getting there and to different points in the playoffs in random spurts. They haven't won a World Series since 1983, or made a World Series since 1983, excuse me. They
won that one.
What was that?
That was our championship. We won that one.
Oh, that was the one you guys won. Okay. So my apologies.
We hold that one close.
You guys have only had 4 winning seasons since 98. Like we talked about before, attendance in 98 was at 3.7 mil throughout the season. In 2019, it was only 1.4. So clearly fans have had it. It's not, they're making the playoffs here and there. They kind of make a push. But to me, this team that they have right now is the most talented they've had in years. So right now, let's talk the M's, let's talk Mullins, Mountcastle, Mancini, Means. Let's talk ownership. Let's talk prospects. Josh, break it down for me a little bit.
So what we see right now in this major league roster, there are a few bright spots. Like you said, the 4 M's. Means, he emerged as an ace kind of last year. He was an all-star as a rookie in 2019. He was kind of our default all-star, though. Still a very good pitcher. He's out on injury right now, had the no-hitter, though. And, he's been great for us. He's always a start to look forward to, and he's the only starter to look forward to. Mullins has emerged as a star this year. This is a guy we sent to Double A in 2019. He comes up last year. He looked very impressive in the field and on the bases. He just couldn't get it done at the plate. This offseason, he said, I'm not going to be a switch hitter anymore. He's our Gold Glove center fielder out there. Should win a Gold Glove. But yeah, he said, I'm not switch hitting anymore. He hits only from the left side now. And he's been great from both sides against both arms. And yeah, just love watching Mullins on a daily basis. I think he stole second and third the other day in like a tie ball game, and like Orioles Twitter's going crazy. It's just fun to watch. Mullins can do everything.
The fact that he was sent back down to Double A in 2019, and he's 8th in the MLB in WOBA right now. He is 8th in the league in WAR. Me and you were talking on Twitter. He absolutely should be the third name in the AL outfield conversation over Mike Trout. We all love Mike. He's the greatest baseball player on the face of the earth. But look at the stats. They have identical stats, and Cedric Mullins has played 200 more at bats than.
Yeah, it makes no sense. We had a bit of a meltdown on that. Just not enough fans in the fan base for that one, and just a lot of casuals. They see Mike Trout's name on a ballot, fill it out, and I get that. But I mean, Teoscar Hernandez
and voting.
Yeah, and Teoscar Hernandez gets in over us, and Judge has put together a decent season, but I think Mullins has put together a better season. I think that's pretty agreeable. But
I will give it to you. I'll even give you that. Cedric Mullins should have made it over even my beloved Aaron.
I don't know if you're a big baseball card guy, but like for a couple of years there, Mullins' like rookie card was like the joke of all like talking circles. Like someone will post like some crazy like Derek Jeter auto, and they'll be like, I'll give you a Mullins rookie for it. And like here he is now, and like he's taking over the AL outfield. It's great to see.
A stud. I give credit where credit's due. He is fun to watch.
He found out he was an all-star like I think it was like 4 games ago, and he wasn't in the game, but they put him in the game. He found out he was an all-star. He hit the game-tying single and then a go-ahead home run, and then our bullpen blows it in the 9th. But I mean, just insane for a 3-inning game for him, just all in a day's work.
All in a day, like you said before, he stole second and third in the same inning. I think he leads the team with 15, 16 stolen bases. I mean, he is all around, like you said, Gold Glove, all-star, base stealing in a league where they don't steal bases anymore. Go check the lost art of the stolen base on Russo's playbook. He is incredible. Just
I'll leave it on this with Mullins. Like everyone should know his name. If you're a fan of watching like good baseball, like we have Jim Palmer in the broadcast booth. We're very privileged to have Hall of Fame pitcher in there, and he compares him to like his center fielder star on the 60s and 70s teams, Al Bunbury, who potential Hall of Fame. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but like yeah, just very good comparisons. Very good guy, and he just does it all in the field.
Absolutely. I mean, both of us are younger guys. In our day, he reminds me the closest is Miguel Tejada. I mean, he was the most fun to watch when he won the All-Star, the home run derby. He was a Gold Glove shortstop. I think in my eyes, I mean, as an outsider looking in, you look at the O's uniform, you see boring. Get rid of Manny Machado. Cedric Mullins slides in. He's like, hold up. Let me show you guys what's good in Baltimore.
Yeah, it's just a great story. And I'd say like most exciting since like Adam Jones, and I would argue Mullins is probably better than Adam Jones, at least based on this season alone. But yeah, absolutely. Just day in, day out, very fun to watch. And like, we got other guys in this lineup like Mancini, the big cancer story from last offseason, and what a huge comeback.
Love Mancini.
Yeah, he gets a shot in the home run derby this year. Missed the All-Star game. Not enough fans, like I said earlier, but he's put together a pretty good season. In May, he was probably the best hitter in the AL, and that's not like an understatement. Like if you search the numbers on May, he was crushing everything he saw. And then we got guys like Mountcastle in the lineup too, who awful April. I think he had a -1 WAR at the end of April, and since then he's been AL Rookie of the Week. He's been Rookie of the Month. He had. Or not AL Rookie of the Week. It was a Player of the Week, and Rookie of the Month. And he had better stats than Tatis in June. And Mountcastle's put it together. He's actually walking now. That was kind of his big problem, was he had no eye for the ball, but he doubled his walk rate last month. So
He's got a
Just love to see
301
it.
OBP, so he's getting on base. He's doing his job.
Yeah, and he just crushes a baseball if you leave it in the middle of the plate. He's not a fun at bat if you're a pitcher, and that's
I
really
could.
all you can ask for in a team like this.
So you just said, like we're talking Cedric Mullins. You look at the stats, he is a top 10 MLB player right now. That's no lie. He's top 10 in just about every hitting stat, every defensive category. Look at the stats. He backs it up. Trey Mancini is having a hell of a year. Rename the comeback player of the year award after him.
Yeah,
He is he is the MLB's oh my god, why am I blanking on his name right now? The quarterback who broke everything came back.
I don't
Alex
know. I don't
Smith.
know football.
Alex Smith. There it is. He is the MLB's Alex Smith. Give that man everything he deserves. You have an ace for the first time who is so reliable, who is fun to watch. He gave you guys a no-hitter. What in the world? I mean, Pedro Severino's having a career year. Freddie Galvis is having a career year. I mean, career years for these guys might not be saying a whole lot, but they're not playing below average. You have an all around pretty, I would say, a middle of the road, pretty damn good hitting lineup. They're 16th in batting average, 19th in home runs, 22nd RBIs, 24th in OBP, which hurts a little bit, but 19th in OPS. For the 29th ranked team, that's not what you would expect, I don't think.
So like the hitting, the numbers you just said, we're pretty much a league average team at the plate, but we crush lefties. We always have since this rebuild started with guys like Hanser Alberto and Renato Nunez, who are gone now. But yeah, this team has an inability to like get on base, and like we've had a lot of runner and scoring position issues this year. But the offense isn't the problem. Very much is on the lack of attention of the pitching staff, and our middle infield situation's kind of rough. Freddie went down with an injury last week, 2 weeks ago, and it's real sad because he was going to be a nice trade piece for us. And same with Michael Franco. Franco's hurt for, I think he's on the 10-day IL, and he's kind of had a rough year. So our two trade pieces aren't really working out, and the other trade piece is in the rotation. I don't know if whenever we would get to that, but yeah, the lineup's not the issue.
No, the lineup's not the issue. And like you just alluded to, the pitching is very much the issue. Let's 30th in ERA, 26th in saves. They have allowed the most home runs in the MLB. They are 29th in whip and 29th in opponents' batting. Everybody that's not named John Means in that starting rotation is 9 for 36 with a 6.36 ERA. Holy shit, Josh. Me and you can go out there and pitch better than Matt Harvey in half of these bums. Why?
I mean, Harvey's sitting there right now with a 7.7 ERA.
He's 3 and
He's
11,
thrown more
right?
starts than, yeah, 3-10. Yeah, he has started more games than anyone else in this rotation. I do not understand why he's still there. Well, I do understand he's just there to eat innings because, I don't know, the Orioles are cheap. But yeah, this rotation, like you said, Means out, and he's been our only bright spot. Bruce Zimmerman, he's injured right now. He's our rookie. He can give you about 5 reliable, but outside of that, I mean, Jorge Lopez might give us 6 innings every 5 starts, and I mean that's an average start for any other major league team.
Yeah.
We're just plugging holes with guys like Dean Kramer, Keegan Aiken. These are prospects. We got Kramer back in the Machado deal to the Dodgers a few years back, and they kind of had to rush into the big leagues because we don't have any pitching, and just a lack of attention to the rotation. Especially this bullpen is reliable. They have to throw over half of every game.
That's absolutely the bullpens. A lot of the MLB right now, the bullpen is the problem. The closers are the problem. I 26 in saves is not necessarily the bullpen's fault. It's because they go in losing the game already. They have never had a save opportunity.
Correct. And I mean, we've gone through a few different closers now. It was Cesar Valdez, who was he's the 37-year-old changeup dead fish thrower. And he was starting to get seen. Yeah, they were starting to see him pretty good. Yankees ripped him up. And after that, he was no longer the closer. Paul Fry kind of emerged as the closer. He's had trouble since the sticky stuff enforcement. But our biggest surprise in the pen this year, maybe on the entire team, has been Tyler Wells. We got him in the Rule 5 draft last year. And he's had since I think it was like May 15th. He's had like a 1.2 ERA. He's been locked down. He's exciting. He's never pitched above AA before. And yeah, this is his first run at the big league level, and he's really impressed.
That's awesome. Good for him. It seems like the O's get these few bright spots, and they bounce. They bounce in and out of the playoffs. So it would appear to me they haven't been in since 2016. What are the chances they realize the potential in this lineup? They realize the potential in John Means. They say, hey, for the first time in a long time, we have something to build around. We don't have to be the laughing stock with the Diamondbacks. What are the chances, in your opinion, that they realize something and either go out and not only do not sell, but they actually kind of try and buy, and then at the end of this season, they actually for once spend money? Is there any chance at all?
In my opinion, we're 2 years away from even being in spending territory. We're from even like 500 baseball. So like we have baseball's second best prospect, Adley Rutschman, first overall pick a couple years ago, catcher. Lots of good stuff to like about Adley Rutschman, and I think they're waiting until that top crop of guys like Grayson Rodriguez, great arm in our system, DL Hall come up, and they're gonna wait till they see what they want to see from those guys before they kind of build something around it. And I despise that strategy in baseball, man. Like with team building.
Question for you. The Yankees did it with Clint Frazier. I hate what they do to prospects in the MLB. Why is Adley still in Double A?
I actually agree with this decision for reasons that aren't service time manipulation, like other people of Orioles Twitter agree with. But currently our top pitching prospects, Deal Hall and Grayson Rodriguez, are in Double A, so they are learning to pitch to Adley. Adley is learning how to call for them. Yeah, it's actually pretty fun to watch those guys. I wish I could see them in Bowie more often, but
That's
yeah.
awesome. You said Grayson Rodriguez, the number 19 prospect in the top 100, and DL Hall, number 53. You guys also got number 52 in Heston Kierstad, who's an outfielder, and number 91 in Gunnar Henderson. So you guys are more
So
than loaded in the prospect department.
the joke with Kierstad is that we don't think he's real because he hasn't played. He hasn't gone to the alternate site last year. He hasn't played minor league ball yet this year, and he's a college bat. And we're like, kind of what's going on with this? And he had a heart condition last year. They found after the draft, so he hasn't picked up a bat in about a year, and
Oh,
that's
yeah.
yeah. So no one even thinks he's real. He's just made
Wow.
up.
That is wild to hear for the number 52 ranked prospect.
Second overall pick last year. The Jays ended up with Austin Martin, who was the projected second overall pick, and he's killing it in Double A for them. He almost made the team out of spring training, so we're a little salty about that one.
Handful of miscues in the O's organization.
We can get into the draft if you want to. I mean, there's a little bit about that, I guess, but
Hey man, if you got draft tips or you got things that you think they should do, or people who players who they should draft, by all means get into it.
I don't follow the mock drafts too closely. Like if the Orioles select, I don't know, Henry Davis. I don't know how caught up you are on the draft, but like Henry Davis is
Jack Leiter, and that's about it.
all right. I'm pretty much top guys only. I don't pay attention to like those later round guys, and I don't know why you would, because we don't know nothing about them.
I'll watch the draft, and once the draft happens, which is coming up in a few days, right?
Sunday.
Sunday, yeah. So I'll watch it, and once I watch it and the players get drafted to certain teams, I'll pay attention from there. But all the hubbubaloo and I'm not paying attention to it. A lot of these guys are 17, 18 years old. So you're not going to hear about them for the next 10 years.
Right. So like with draft strategy with the O's, we had the first overall pick in 2019. We picked Adley. I think any GM in the world could have picked the best player available with the number one pick there. That's not a hard decision. We had the second overall pick last year. Like I said, we picked Kierstad, who was actually projected to be like the 9th pick. So kind of took everyone back a little bit. And Austin Martin was on the board. And so the Orioles did something called underslotting in the draft. I don't know if you're familiar with
I'm not.
that term.
Explain that.
So teams that are trying to save money, like the Orioles, who don't spend money anyway, but we're gonna try to save more, I guess. But they
O's are just like the Pirates. They're $5 million a year. We're good.
Yeah, so what they'll do is they'll pick a guy that they know they can sign for cheaper, like a smaller signing bonus when they draft them. And Kerstad was one of those guys, college bat, good lefty power, but outside of that, he's not offering much, which is why he wasn't projected as high. But they knew they could sign him cheaper, so later in the draft they could pay more money to one of the high school guys that would maybe take a harder chance to convince. But I don't know if I liked it last year because Kerstad, it's easier to say it now that Kerstad hasn't really worked out so far and Martin's killing it. But yeah, it's not a strategy I love, but I can see why teams would do it. Just as a fan, I hate to see that.
I agree, and like you said before, the service time manipulation and what MLB teams are willing to do to some of their top prospects, I think it's despicable. I think I love Clint Frazier. He's from a town near where a family of mine grew up. I'm very familiar with the Frazier. I would have loved to see him in his prime get traded. He's still in his prime. If I guess he's still pretty young, but he hasn't been able to do a damn thing for the Yankees. They've held on to him, sent him down, brought him up, sent him down, brought him up, and it sounds like this is somewhat the same game the Orioles are playing.
Yeah, we're kind of doing it with guys that are a lot less like high ceiling, like Clint Frazier, one of the fastest bats in baseball, and they just kept doing like this kind of sideshow thing with him. They'll send him to the minors, they'll put him on the bench for a long time, and if Frazier came up on the Indians like he was drafted, I think a lot more people are talking about him. But we do it with these guys like Kramer and Aiken and some of our infield guys, but nothing really major yet. We will see if they do that with Rutschman, Grayrod, and Gunner, guys like that. But nothing that extreme. I think that's more of a Yankees problem because you guys were, in a championship window, so it's a little harder to play those guys that you're hoping just get better as they get at bats. So I kind of get it on that aspect.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I have
Completely.
to ask a question. You said you knew like you knew Clint Frazier's family, like you had a family that was kind of closer with him.
Not personally.
Oh,
My
okay.
family grew up in the same town, Toms River, as Clint Frazier and his family.
That's in Georgia, right?
No, it's in Jersey.
Oh, it's in Jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he went to high school in Georgia. I know, like him and Austin Meadows were like high school rivals.
Holy shit. Todd Frazier.
Okay.
Todd Frazier.
Yeah, he's from Jersey.
Getting
Did you
all
know
my
he was in the Little League World Series?
yeah, I'm getting all my Fraziers mixed up over. He was the guy on Seinfeld, right?
That's the guy.
That's the guy. Oh God. Enough of the Frazier talk. Back to the O's. In your mind, you said they're 2 years out, at least from being buyers. So where does that leave them in the meantime? Are we going to see some kind of Manny Machado collapse where they trade key pieces to what could be to their rebuild? Or like I asked previously, uh, I hope to God they don't trade or send any of these 4Ms down. They are, I think, some of the most fun four players to watch in baseball, and I say that honestly. That's why I wanted to have you on here. I wanted to have a conversation with you because the Orioles fascinate me as a baseball team. I mean, if you look at their players, you look at their stats, they should not be this bad. And yet here we are in the same conversation with the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are hot garbage.
Yeah, like I maybe Catal Marte and like Zach Gallen, maybe Eduardo Escobar is all the Diamondbacks can really talk about. But like you said, we have these like exciting guys in the lineup, and you look at that lineup card every night, it's the same story. You see Mullins at the top, Austin Hayes, who's one of our he's had a lot of injuries in the past, but he certainly has potential, and we like what he can do. One of the best arms in baseball, by the way. And then you'll see Mancini, then Mountcastle, and then it's just steaming garbage after that. There's nothing. Bottom of the lineup. We have no consistency. We are plugging holes on the infield right now, and yeah, it's just those top four guys running the show. As for your question about who can get traded potentially, so last year Anthony Santander, former Rule 5 selection, he had a great year in 2020. He just got injured halfway through, and the numbers this year haven't really picked up, and it's been kind of sad because he was putting up like all-star level numbers last year. I don't know if you have the stats up, but those are pretty impressive numbers. And he just hasn't put it together yet this year. He could be a guy that was going to be moved. We are very hesitant to say Mancini might be moved, and that's really sad to think about. He's kind of our guy, and the Brewers should be a team with interest in him.
The
Corner.
Brewers can piss all the way off.
Okay, so
I'm
I
a
am part of
Cardinals
this.
fan, don't forget.
I love the Brewers. They're my NL team.
You're killing me, Josh. You got to rival me AL East and NL Central.
I like what they got going over there. But
I honestly, as a Brewers hater, people are gonna call me a fraud because I'm calling all these teams I'm supposed to hate. Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, Yelly. How do you not like them? They're making moves already. They just traded for Tellez. How do you not like what they're doing?
I mean, how can you not respect the hell out of the Brewers? They traded for Willie Optimus from the Rays. They got like you said, Tellez from the Jays, and they all what the Brewers do is they just put together these little slightly above replacement players, and they just make a great lineup out of it. They got their stars and Burns and Yelich, and they just do the rest.
Absolutely. They started the season third or fourth in the NL Central, bouncing back and forth. They started hot, got cold, stayed cold, and now they're 8.5 games in front first place. They're story.
Yeah, they're insane. With Mancini potentially going to the Brewers, I am part of the small movement on Orioles Twitter where we want Luis Urias, their infielder from there. He came over in the Padres trade that involved Trent Grisham a couple of years ago, and we like him a lot. And his brother is actually one of our infielders that we kind of plug holes with. He's been kind of impressive this year in his
That'd
short.
be cool.
Yeah, we want that Urias duo up the middle. I think that'd be awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, we did a little Father's Day special a couple weeks ago here. And, we mentioned a couple brothers that have played. Ken Griffey played with his dad, hit back-to-back home runs. So that'd be awesome to see two brothers get to play together.
Yeah, I mean, they're both middle infielders. They can just go turn double plays all day. They're both athletic. They can both hit. I mean, that's awesome.
That would be sick. That would be, first of all, I hope Mancini stays.
I do too, first and foremost.
If he has to go, that would be cool. And I'm about to buy a Mancini jersey. So if he's rumored to be traded, I'm going to hold off for a couple months and buy the Mancini O's jersey when it's 50% off.
Yeah, I would wait till August or something. Wait till that trade deadline passes.
August 1st or 2nd, we should be all right.
And if it wasn't for Means' injury, he's been sidelined for about a month now. If it wasn't for that injury, he was kind of a 50-50 guy to go get traded, and I just absolutely resent that. I don't know why you would trade your only capable starting pitcher. Just doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, we're starting fucking Tommy Eshelman. Pardon my language. Tommy Eshelman. He's nothing. If you look at his career, is nothing. He's only here because Mike Elias is the GM, and he was part of the Astros thing. Traded Tommy Eshelman. It's garbage. That's my final statement.
Like we said before, everybody not named John Means is 9 for 36. I don't know how smart or how big of a brain you have to go. You guys ever think about keeping John Means? You ever think about that?
We actually, so we had this stretch of games just this past week where we had 9 games in a row where our starter did not make it to the 5th inning. And we call up some rookie named Spencer Watkins, who I don't even know how we acquired him. I think it was just sign him to a minor league deal. He's like 28 years old, never appeared in the majors before. Goes out there, throws 5.2 or something like that, and had a great start. It was really emotional for him. He had like an interview after. So we get moments like this, but it's kind of like, why do we have to have moments like this?
Yeah. So what's the deal with John Means? I mean, he supposedly just hit the 10-day IL. I know it was supposed to be a little bit longer. I forget the exact nature of his injury. It was on his throwing arm, right? It was his shoulder, his elbow.
So he's had the shoulder fatigue thing going on since he's came to the bigs. He's currently in rehab starts in the minors, so we should see him back next week, and that'll be a good boost to the rotation. After
the All-Star break, I'm assuming?
Obviously. Yeah, I would assume so.
Yep, cool. So that's a little bit of good news for the O's. In your eyes, as a huge O's fan, what could they do immediately? I'm talking, you said next 2 years. What can they do in the next 2 years to get where they need to be in such a competitive division?
In the next 2 years, there's not a lot we can do except wait on these prospects and maybe try to get some lucky hits with like waiver claim guys and Rule 5 draft. And like, it's sad we have to talk about this. This past off season, the Orioles did nothing to get starting pitching. There was a list. I had that list of names that could sign. I don't know what this upcoming free agent class looks like with pitchers or anything like that. But there's this list of guys: Sean Yamaguchi, Trevor Cahill, Brett Anderson, Tyler Anderson, Matt Shoemaker, Colin McHugh, who's been really good for the Rays, Rich Hill, same story. Trevor Williams went back to the Pirates. Carlos Rodon, who threw the no-hitter, signed for $3 million back with the White Sox. Alex Wood, he's been great for the Giants. Michael Wacha, Mike Minor to the Royals. And these were all guys that were free agents last offseason. The O's had an open shot to pursue. Every single one of the guys I just named signed for under $4 million. For a team that does not care to spend money, that is how you kind of make a capable rotation, and you don't have to waste minor league talent on the major league roster, because, you know, guys aren't going to learn anything by being shelled every start, and I just don't get the unwillingness to spend even a little bit of money to just have a capable MLB roster.
Dude, that hurt me. My God, you just rattled off like 15 names right there.
Yeah, I mean, some of these guys, like, you know, Michael Wacha, he's had an interesting career. You know, you're a Cardinals guy, you remember him.
Solid for the Cardinals for a few years. He kind of tailed off, but Michael Wacha is a solid pitcher.
Yeah, and the Rays have him, and they've made him, you know, he's not a great pitcher by any means, but for $3 million, they've used him the right way, and he's better than probably 4 of our 5 in the rotation, and that's...
Hey, let's use the O standard. Michael Wacha, better than Matt Harvey. Trevor Williams, better than Matt Harvey. Did you say, I forget if Trevor Rogers was on there, better than Matt Harvey. Any player you name, Rodon is, you can put together 12 Matt Harveys and it's still not one Rodon. And Rodon's not a fantastic pitcher by any means. Good, not fantastic. It's just,
I mean, he's been great this year, but yeah, I get why he was signed for $3 million, but there's a refusal to take a chance on these guys.
That in my eyes could be the most frustrating thing as a fan, is when year in, year out, you just want to win a few games. Hey, you're not asking for a 120 win season here. Can we be competitive in half of them, Willow?
Like, I'm not asking us to go out and sign Trevor Bauer like in the last offseason. Like, obviously that's a dumb request, but like,
good move.
If you're gonna go underslot in the draft anyway, like I said earlier, if you're gonna go underslot in the draft, why do you need to lose 110 games to be in the position where you're just not going to pick the best player available anyway in the draft? I don't get it. There's people that defend this lack of spending money. They're like, oh, we're building up our international scouting. What are you talking about? You do it without having this piss poor, just garbage roster on the field. And it's just a lack of attention, and it's all intentional. And that's what's the most frustrating part.
I could imagine so. I mean, at least the Yankees, we bitch as Yankees fans that we want to stay under the luxury tax. At least we have a $200 million payroll. They just suck. But I don't know if there's any more else you want to touch on. Josh, I got one more big question for you, though. What is going on in Orioles Twitter?
We can talk about the Twitter meltdowns.
Yes, sir. What is going on over there?
Yeah, man, I think our internet connection's kind of going back and forth. But yeah, it's been rough, man. Couple months ago, I think it was in like May or something, some guy with like 40,000 followers said something like about how frustrated he was. I don't even know who he was, but said something about like how it's like just piss poor that there's O's fans that like agree with service time manipulation and things like this. And this other guy like came at him and was like, it's good for the team and it's setting us up for a great future. And it's like, man, what are you talking about? If we win 5 more games and it saves us like ruining the development of some of these guys, I just don't get it. Like that list of pitchers I named, I don't know why none of those guys are not in an Orioles uniform right now. And yeah, they think if you save every penny, you're setting yourself up for a future success, and that's a guarantee. Spend little money and it pays off. And I don't agree with that. It is a bit biased. There's a whole other side to it, but that's where I stand on it, is that it's just garbage.
And I completely agree with you. I think every team should try and be competitive, go out, spend a few dollars. Like I said, you're not asking for a whole lot. Just make them competitive. Don't trade these stud pieces that you have to build around.
And there's like a lot of people clamoring for that underslot thing in the draft. And like, I don't know why you're just stinting the rebuild by picking these guys. I just don't get it, man. I get it from a front office perspective. As a fan, and as a baseball fan, as an Orioles fan, you cannot advocate for these kind of techniques. It makes you a bad fan, and like you can understand it, but you don't have to agree with it. It's not your money. Why are you trying to save or justify spending a billionaire's money?
Hey man, I completely agree. It's, it's not built for the fans, but you have to understand to a degree that your fans do matter. Like we said in the intro, there went from a 3.7 million total attendance in 1998 down to 1.4 million in 2019. You can't, you gotta make it somewhat competitive to bring the fans in, to make the money, to build a better team. It's a circle of money here.
And
If
it's not like we've seen this like, oh, hold on, let me try. It's not like, you have to lose 110 games to have an entertaining product on the field. And like you've seen it with the Giants and the Royals who did it this past offseason. The Royals went out and got Benintendi. They're in fourth place right now, but they have guys to go to the ballpark for every day. They can make every game competitive. They just haven't won a lot.
the
But I'm sure their run differential is a lot better than ours.
the Indians traded one of the best shortstops in the game, got damn near nothing in return for it, and they're second place in their division and holding on to a wild card spot damn near.
The Giants are the best team in baseball. They're supposed to be rebuilding right now. I don't. They signed half of those names I mentioned. Sean Yamaguchi was in there. Alex Wood went to the Giants, and like, I don't. I just, if they can do it, why do we have to?
Yeah, absolutely. I could. Hey, man, as just an overall baseball fan, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, it's a garbage mindset, and I don't know why there's people that can even consider supporting it from a fan perspective. Just,
Yes, sir. But I don't have any more questions for you necessarily. You good on anything? You want to touch on anything else?
I think we touched on just about the majority. I mean, I think our farm system just. I think Keith Law has rated it like the ninth best or something in baseball. I think that's an over exaggeration. We are a top five farm system. We pay very close attention to the minor league games because our major league games are so bad. So we have to focus on like, Bowie games and Norfolk games. And we have beat writers calling out Orioles fans on Twitter for like wanting good guys to get called up. And it's civil war, man. I don't get it.
Hey, man, I'm gonna have to tune into some Orioles Twitter more. Sit back with my bowl of popcorn while I'm bullshit with my Yankees fans on Twitter. But Orioles Twitter sounds like a fun place to be at.
It's every 3 days, man. There's just something new that comes up and everyone wants to throw a fit about it. And it's a cycle. It's awful. Yeah,
Uh,
I'm exhausted from explaining the rebuild to people.
hey man, I love to hear it. Baseball needs that drama. They need that intensity. Uh, I hope I've made a good impression on Orioles Twitter. Josh, I cannot thank you enough, my man. Everybody go check out Josh on Twitter at Out of State O's. Don't forget to like and subscribe us on YouTube. Follow along at all socials, YouTube, or I'm sorry, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Russo's Playbook. Josh, thank you, my man.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. It was a great conversation. We take all interest in the Orioles. Anyone outside who wants to hear about it, we'll talk your ear off. It's a great time.
Can't wait to have you back. We'll get talking some just overall AL East, some Yankees, those shitty Red Sox. And hey, man, I appreciate it. You have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, man.
Hey, thanks.